What's a soulmate?
Well, it's like a best friend, but more. It's the one person in the world who knows you better than anyone else. It's someone who makes you a better person. Actually, they don't make you a better person. You do that yourself because they inspire you. A soulmate is someone who you carry with you forever.
Soulmate AUs. Every hopeless romantic fic reader's bread and butter for seeing their faves discover they're meant to be, or feeding that sweet, sweet dream of finding someone designed just for you. Soulmate AUs are crazy popular in the fanfic sphere, and for good reason. Now, the concept of soulmates has been around across multiple cultures in folklore, mythology, and stories for ages, from the ancient Greeks to ancient China. So it's no surprise that it made its way over to fanfiction and has stuck around over the years. But yeah, they really started taking off and reaching fandom-wide appeal in the 2010s. One likely cause being the rom-com sci-fi film Timer, where the premise is people have wrist implants that count down to the day where they meet their soulmate. And I also remember around this time I was like in middle school, early high school, and I was seeing a lot of Red String of Fate fan art, so that certainly fed into the fics as well.
So without further ado, let's jump into the Soulmate AU.
But before we begin, I'd just like to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, Sunrise Village. Sunrise Village is a super cute and exciting mobile game that lets you live out your cottagecore daydreams through farming, exploring, and uncovering thrilling mysteries firsthand. The game starts out almost like the premise of a fanfic. You visit a peaceful village surrounded by vibrant nature, where you lend a helping hand to your beloved grandpa on his farm. There you can plant crops, care for adorable animals, and experience the joys of working the land in the virtual world. And as the game progresses, aid your grandpa on a quest to discover the secrets that lay within thorny bushes and mysterious fog. You'll meet quirky villagers that can assist you on your journey, each with their own unique workshop and story, as you travel through the game's mysterious, curious areas. And level up your friendships with them to unlock unique animals, greenhouses, plots, and buildings. Team up with other players, even with me, when you reach level 10. You can create or join a team to work together and complete missions where you'll discover exciting loot areas and resources. There's a thrilling limited time Atlantis Maze event from July 13th to August 3rd. Explore mysterious underwater worlds, uncover breathtaking treasures, and compete against fellow adventurers. Help support the channel and download Sunrise Village using my link in the description below. And start your mystery farm adventure today. And hey, if you prefer playing on your computer or laptop, stay tuned because the browser launch is just around the corner. See you in Sunrise Village. Now let's get back to the video. What is a Soulmate AU exactly? They're a type of fanfic AU, alternate universe, in which characters are bound or drawn together in some predetermined way. Many Soulmate AU fanfics are centered around characters trying to find their soulmate or navigating a new relationship with their soulmate once they do find them. Oftentimes it happens by accident, or a character's soulmate ends up being someone they didn't expect, or someone who's been right in front of their eyes the entire time. There's a lot of different flavors to play around with for this incredibly diverse and vast fanfic genre. One of my personal favorites is actually when the soulmate trope is subverted in fics. I love it when one character, or both characters, don't want to give in to destiny or whatever, and so they actively try to avoid meeting their soulmate at all costs. They see other people in an effort to make their own fate. Maybe they hate the idea of soulmates and want to be their own person outside of this destined match. Or if they already know who their soulmate is, they try to keep them in the dark and prevent them from figuring out the truth for one reason or another. A lot of it just boils down to trauma, miscommunication, and stubbornness. It's angsty. There's always good back and forth over what constitutes a soulmate, and it begs the question of fate and free will. Even if you try your hardest, can you actually change or ignore what's meant to be? What reasons would or could someone have to want to? As Master Oogway from Kung Fu Panda once said, one often meets his destiny on the path he takes to avoid it. It can honestly turn into a horror fic if you wanted to look at it from another perspective. Like, imagine you're stuck as a soulmate of someone terrible or someone you had a bad history with or despised and opposes you in every way fundamentally, or worse, you felt absolutely nothing for this soulmate, a void of emotion, and this is supposed to be someone who is your other half, who the universe decided was meant for you. Other soulmate trope subversions I'm fond of are when two people who maybe gave up on finding their soulmates decide to just start seeing each other and whatever will be will be. I've read some where a character meets their soulmate, but it just doesn't work out romantically, and so they become platonic soulmates. Speaking of angst, I've read this premise a few times where soulmates meet, but one of them is already seeing another person who's not their soulmate, and so it comes down to, okay, does this person choose the relationship they made of their own free will, or do they go for their fated match in the end? There's another premise where soulmates meet, but it doesn't work out initially. Maybe they get off on the wrong foot, or just right person, wrong time, and so they go their separate ways. And then they meet up again, and it's like, okay, does one character start groveling and try to make amends, or do they just try to feel things out, or do they just continue to go their separate ways? But because I'm a sappy mother, I am a big fan of more traditional Soulmate AUs too, and I just really like the idea of someone out there waiting for you, just like you're waiting for them. I enjoy a good meet cute or meet ugly as much as the next fan of romance. But what I think is the most creative part of Soulmate AU fanfics is just how characters know they're meant to be together. Let's go through some of the most popular Soulmate AU hallmarks floating around out there, as well as some of the more unconventional ones you maybe don't see all that often. If you're a fanfic author, then feel free to use any of these for prompts or inspiration. There's a red string of fate that's wrapped around one of your fingers, usually your ring finger, that connects you to your soulmate. You can follow the string until you find who's on the other end, or the string might tug you to your soulmate. The string is usually only visible to you and your soulmate, and I have seen cool interpretations where there are different colors that represent different things for different people, like red is for soulmates, black is for enemies, yellow is for your best friend, so you kind of end up looking like a marionette master with fingers full of string. It's kind of like a compass. The first words your soulmate will ever say to you are written on your wrist, and sometimes they'll change color or glow once your soulmate says them. Your soulmate's last words they'll ever say to you are written on your wrist. Ooh, the angst. This could go so many different ways. Like, imagine you spend your whole life with someone and you think, this is it, this is my person, but then they pass and their last words to you don't match what's on your wrist. Or you're facing off against your sworn enemy on the battlefield and you stab them through the guts, and the last thing they say to you is eat and die. And guess what's on your freaking wrist? Your soulmate's birthday is written on your body somewhere. Matching soul marks. So you and your soulmate have matching emblems or symbols somewhere on your skin. I've seen this play out more humorously than anything else, like, oh man, why does my soul mark look like a But it could also be angsty in that someone tries to cover up their soul mark with bandages or a watch just because they don't want to think about soulmates, or they know who their soulmate is and they don't want to accept it. Different ways you can swing it. The first letter or character or initials of your soulmate's name is somewhere on your body. Soulmates will have marks that are associated with or are emblematic of the other person. So if my soulmate was super bubbly and energetic and bright, my soul mark might look like a sun or a star. The first time you touch your soulmate will leave behind bruise-like markings. So if your first touch with your soulmate was you guys shaking hands, then both of your hands might look pretty black and blue. I've seen funny instances where soulmates got into a fight, and so they're punching each other, and then they realize, oh god damn, you have bruises all over your face. Sometimes the bruise markings last forever, other times they last for a few weeks and then disappear. Other times they're there for like a moment and that's it. One really funny instance I read of this scenario is that someone went down on their soulmate and their genitalia was like fully blue and purple. They were like, oh my god, something's wrong. Oh, wait, you're my soulmate. Hooray! Like, what if you were at a club and then you were dancing all on someone and then you start kissing and you realize, oh, it looks like I got punched in the face. Oh my god, what does my butt look like? Anything you write or draw on your skin shows up on your soulmate's skin as well. A lot of opportunities for mischief for this one. You and your soulmate share pain, and so if your soulmate gets hurt, you get hurt as well. But really suck if your soulmate was like a professional boxer or something. This one can very easily be angsty. For example, if your soulmate has a bad home life or if they get into a lot of fights. You can hear what your soulmate is thinking, so soulmate telepathy. You can hear what your soulmate is hearing, so it's like you're sharing earbuds, but it doesn't matter how far away you guys are. Your soulmate's name is written on one wrist and your enemy's name is written on the other, and you don't know which is which. Ooh, the angst potential. What if they're the same name? You are colorblind when you first meet your soulmate, and once you do, the world just erupts into color. This one would be difficult if you were in a public space. Like, imagine you're at a concert and all of a sudden everything is just like full-scale color and you're like, oh my god, is it someone in the crowd with me? Is my soulmate another fan? Or am I a fan of my soulmate? Another version of this is you are colorblind, but things your soulmate has touched and pathways your soulmate has taken are in color. Everyone has a timer, usually on their wrist, that counts down to the moment where they meet their soulmate. So like the timer movie premise, you can see a timer of when your soulmate will die or how many days they have left. This one really gets me. Like, I read a fic once where one soulmate had like 70 more years to go and they were like 20 something, and then their soulmate only had like 5. And so then it became a question of, okay, are we going to actually commit to this and make this the best 5 years of our lives? Or do we just want to go our separate ways and spare ourselves the heartache? So sad, dude. Like, I'm like tearing up thinking about that fic. Jesus Christ. Like, I can't even look at that fic anymore. Just the emotional damage is too much. Reincarnation is a classic Soulmate AU. You and your soulmate will continue to be reborn again and again and meet each other in each of your different lifetimes. I just really like the idea of that. The soulmate goose of enforcement is hilarious. Basically, there's a goose that will chase you until you meet your soulmate. Like, no, this is not a meet cute or a meet ugly. It's a meet goose. Highly recommend checking out one of these fics if you haven't done so before. Thoughts you have about your soulmate appear on their body and vice versa. That would be so embarrassing though. Like, imagine you're like, oh my god, my soulmate is so freaking hot, and then my soulmate is so freaking hot is on their arm for the rest of the day. Lies you tell will appear on your soulmate's body. Really, really bad if your soulmate's a chronic liar. What if your soulmate was like a player or a boy and they were saying stuff like, oh, I love you, let's get married, I want to be with you forever, I see you in my future. And all of those lies they were saying to their catch of the week appeared on your body. Yikes, not a good first impression. Once you meet your soulmate, you no longer have to eat, sleep, or drink. You sustain each other. This one is interesting, I'll give it that, although I don't see this one very often. Being with your soulmate will heal injuries. Perfect if you're a superhero or if you just got a nasty paper cut at the office. Ooh, here's a thought. Imagine there's a villain who's on the hunt for their soulmate so that once they go against the hero, they can be invincible. Like, if the hero mortally injures the villain and the villain goes crawling back to their soulmate, then they get all their health back and round 2. But if the hero has their own soulmate and they're healing them, then it's kind of like a standoff with pocket healers. Soulmates have the same fingerprints. Soulmates can exchange life expectancy and time with each other. So if one soulmate has a higher life expectancy than the other, then they can donate some of their time to their soulmate so it evens out and they can die around the same time. That's awfully romantic. You're destined to meet your soulmate on the worst day of your life. Literal sparks fly when you meet your soulmate. Imagine your soulmate is new to the neighborhood and they moved in right on 4th of July weekend and you're both put on firework duty and you meet for the first time as you're organizing all the fireworks, and then sparks fly and quite the explosive first impression. Your shadow is your soulmate's silhouette. You can sense your soulmate's emotions, so like soulmate empathy. Everyone emits different glows and auras, and you and your soulmate have the same color. You share dreams and dream spaces with your soulmate. You and your soulmate both dream of the place you'll eventually meet. You and your soulmate both dream about how you guys meet, but the details are really fuzzy and it's super vague. Your inner voice is your soulmate's voice. What if your inner voice is really mean to you? You can feel a physical sensation pushing you towards your soulmate, kind of like the tug from the Red String of Fate. You and your soulmate are stuck in a time loop, and only together can you break it. Everyone has a limited number of words allotted they can say before they're muted, but once they meet their soulmate, then the limit doesn't exist. You can see with your peripheral vision what your soulmate is doing at all times, even if you're not near each other. Doing a specific task, like folding 1,000 paper cranes or going through some sort of trial, will reveal your soulmate to you, kind of like a rite of passage. You switch bodies with your soulmate. Sometimes it just happens to trigger a first meeting, other times it could be random or completely intentional. You are physically unable to harm your soulmate, so like a force stops you. Or on the opposite end of that, only your soulmate can harm you and or kill you and make you die of unnatural causes. You are unable to lie to your soulmate, so like you have to operate by Fae rules. You and your soulmate share a special language that only you can understand and speak with one another. You can feel different sensations your soulmate is feeling, so like it's not just limited to pain. And you and your soulmate share a mind space, so kind of like a combination of telepathy and dreams. Wow, that was a lot. How many were there? How do you feel about Soulmate AUs? Do you like them? Are they not your cup of tea? What is your favorite soulmate premise? If you were to subvert the soulmate trope in any other ways, how would you do it? And if you have any Soulmate AU recs, then feel free to throw them in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this was informative and you learned something new, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!
안녕.